Well, this is part 3 of our series on lubing and sizing bullets, and we've talked about tumble lubing, we've talked about pan lubing, and now we're going to bring some technology to bear, and we're going to discuss lubrisizing. And as you can see here in the picture, there are two lubrisizers. I've got two of these. The orange one is the older 450 model, and then the speckled black one, very cool looking, is the newer 4500 model. I use the older one to lube black powder bullets, and the newer one to lube smokeless bullets, and that's because I really find it to be a pain to have to totally clean out the reservoir to change lubes for the different bullet types. It's really not easy, and it's not pleasant. So it's better to get two. And these things can be kind of pricey. The new one runs for about $175 if you shop around. But I'll tell you what, if you look on auction sites or if you go to some of the discussion boards that have for sale areas and post want to buy, you'd be surprised what you could find. The 450, though I've had it for a while, about 10 years, I only paid $15 for that after I posted a wanted to buy ad on one of the bulletin boards. So there are bargains out there. And I would recommend that if you don't want to spend a lot of money, that you go looking around like that first. But these are very neat machines, and of course they lube and size the bullet in one operation, and they are very versatile, and we'll show you how they work. You're going to need lube in the Lubrisizer, and I make my own lube, and I'm just going to briefly tell you what I use. It's quite inexpensive, about 50 cents an ounce, and it's made of equal parts white lithium grease and beeswax. I use a pound of each. I melt the beeswax in a microwave and then melt in the white lithium grease, stir it all up, let it set, and that's what we use in the Lubrisizer. Well, since we're talking about the Lyman Lubrisizer, we've got to talk about lube and how you get lube into it. Now, as you know, I make my own lube, and you can see it right over here. If you use commercial lube, which comes in these tubes, it already has a hole in it to fit right down here into the Lubrisizer's lube magazine, and that's all easy and great. But one of these tubes, of whatever brand you're going to use, this is Lyman's own Orange Magic stuff, but they're all different ones, and they can cost you anywhere from about $1.50 to up to $4 an ounce. This stuff that I make myself costs about 50 cents an ounce. And it's very good lube, as I told you, it's the white lithium and beeswax mixture. But the trick is to get it from this tub into that lube magazine. And here's the way I do it. Wooden dowel. The key thing here is that there's a 3/8 of an inch hole drilled in the end, and you'll see why that's important. Use a copper tube, about 3/4 of an inch. This is a little bit undersized for the lube magazine. You can see the whole tube would go right in there, but that's okay. When we run the piston down, it'll compress everything and it'll spread it out, and it'll do just fine. So I'd rather have it a little bit undersized than a little bit oversized, and the lube doesn't fit in. And here's what I do. It's really pretty simple. We just push it right down in here. And we get it right down to the bottom. Okay, and we are good. And we're pulling up a plug of lube in here. Now, take a little washer and just kind of put it over here. I'm going to take my stick, alright, and with the hole forward, I'm going to put it in until it's touching that plug of lube. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bolt and I'm going to push it right up the middle of that lube channel, as close to the middle as I can get. And what I'm feeling for is the hole inside that stick. So when I'm in there, as you can see, I'm moving that stick around. Okay, and that gives me a chance to push out that plug of lube that the bolt is moving ahead of it. Right, it's pushing out that plug of lube into that hole, and now I'm good. So what I'm going to do now is just extrude that out on the end of my stick, and there we go. Okay, so now I've got a cylinder of lube, and all I need to do to get it off is I take this little washer and just hold on to it, and voila. And pretty simple. We just push this right down into the lube magazine. And I got another one made up here, and we'll push that down in, and then we run the piston down on it, and I'll screw that down tight. Oops. It helps if you remember, right, which is righty tighty and which is lefty loosey. And we'll just get that going. Alright, we just got to catch that first thread. There we go. And now we're in business. And as you can see, that plunger will just sink it right down into the lube reservoir, and we'll be good to go. So that's how we load it up. Pop the cap on. All set. This is the Lyman 4500 Lubrisizer. It mounts here on the bench. I've got it on a lead bench plate. Now, the beauty of the Lubrisizer is that it sizes and lubes all in one step. That's a lot more expensive than pan lubing and using the lease system, but it's also more versatile because this unit will do any caliber, any type of bullet. But there are a couple of ingredients that you need to have for each bullet that you're going to do. And the first of those is the actual sizing die itself. And that's this right here. As you can see, this one's a 452, and that's what we want for 45 ACP. And then the other essential piece of gear is a top punch. And this fits on the ram, pushes the bullet down into the sizer. And what it has, we can get it on camera, it has an inside configuration that matches the nose of the bullet. So what you want is one that will fit right over the bullet, just like this one does. And that way it doesn't deform the bullet when it pushes it down through the sizing die. So those are the two things that you need to have for each bullet that you're going to be lubing and sizing. And once you've got that, basically you can do any bullet configuration to any size that you need. Well, this is the operation of the Lubrisizer. You take your unlubed bullet as cast, place it right here, line up your top punch, push it down. Now, every now and then you're going to need to turn the crank on the lube reservoir. Lift her up, and you can see we've got a perfectly lubed bullet. We'll just get that out. Now, sometimes you can see we're using a soft lube. We'll get some lube on the bottom. We'll just have to wipe that off. But we've got, you can see the difference there. Got a bullet that's unlubed and a bullet that's lubed. Right, and it's good to go. Let that kind of focus on. There we go. Can we see that? There, all lubed up. Just toss it in and pop another one on and push it down. And we're good. Just raise it up a little bit, pull it out, and once again we've got a lube bullet. Right. So it does it all in one step. Bullet goes in. Go straight down, a little lube, up we go. These are short stubby bullets, so there's not much to grab onto. And you can see we've got a 2 lube groove bullet here, and that's lubed just as well. Both both grooves filled. So that's how you do it with the Lubrisizer. Very simple, one-step operation, and we can do a tub of bullets pretty fast here. So the bullets come out of the Lubrisizer, swaged down to size. You can see how the sides are scraped, lubed up, and ready to load.